Hello, hello, hello. And thank you for joining me again. It's been a long time. I've been busy, writing lots of content. This time I've come on live stream under a different channel, Laravel News channel. So a lot of you may have seen the tutorial content that I've been writing for Laravel News. And now I am doing a few live streams to see if people enjoy it. So let's get started. Today, we are going to start building a feature request platform. So this is like let's say you got a dev company. I've got a product that you may like. And it's a way, like, let's take Tailwind, for example. We all love Tailwind because it makes our lives easier. We don't actually need to learn CSS. What this is aimed at is users are able to request new features and other users can upvote those feature requests, allowing Tailwind as the team to get an insight into what their users actually want. So we're going to build that. There is a GitHub repo. I am just going to grab the link for you. And if there are typos today, there are always typos, but I do apologize. But I'm using my split keyboard. I've never live streamed using a split keyboard before, so this is going to be interesting. So there's the repo. You can see that on the screen. It's github.com/juststeveking/feature request platform. It is in the chat should you need it. It is also in the description. So instead of me blabbering on, I'm just going to get started. So what I've got here is just a Notion template that I created for kind of like designing products. And my camera's a bit winky donkey. There we go. So these are the main features that we're going to end up building. And this isn't just going to be my usual, let's build an API. I'm actually going to be using Inertia for this one because I thought it'd be fun. But I'm going to start with the backend logic, focus on building out some backend logic, how I think we should work, and do the data modeling so that for next stream, I can dive into something a little bit more fun. And maybe I'll start getting guests on. So if you're watching this, reach out to me on Twitter or however you reach out to people these days, Mastodon, Pigeon Mail, postcard, however you might want to do that, send me a message and we can organize getting guests on as well, because this is a Laravel News channel, not my own. So the idea is that sometimes in the stream, I may skip over aspects of what I'm building, but the idea will be that any areas like that, I can then follow it up with a written tutorial on Laravel News, so they can go together quite nicely. And I haven't managed to get TypeScript working just yet. Give me time. But let's get started. So I have my project set up. It is a standard Laravel with a little bit of kind of PHP stand configured. I've got my very opinionated Laravel Pint configuration set up. I haven't done anything in here. I've not done anything anywhere. And for a change, this one isn't going to be domain-driven design because it's such a small thing that I don't think domains are going to add any benefit to this. So what do we want to do? The first thing, we kind of want to look at our databases and have a look at this users table, because I like to make a couple of changes to the default. I like to use ULIDs. I find they look cool. There's no other reason. And obviously, this one needs to be the primary key. Let's just give ourselves some space and organize these in a nice way. So name, email, password, email verified that. That's all good. Let's make this a static function. And that is looking good. So we want to look at the user model next. So we want to say that this has ULIDs, and that is all we should need. Let's get rid of some of doc blocks that aren't needed. Good. Let's do some Steve code to make it a final class. In terms of the factory should be pretty much okay. But obviously we're going to make it a final class, get rid of some doc blocks, and add some changes to this. So this is going to return an instance of itself. So this is state. It's going to return an array, and that is what we care about here. I always use a hash facade for this personally. Obviously, use what you're comfortable with. So it's going to do that. Still getting used to this keyboard after all this time. I don't like the fake helper personally. As probably a lot of people who may have seen some of my stuff before, I'm not a big fan of helper methods where I can help it. So here we go, nice and simple, nice and clean. One thing to bear in mind is that we are going to need like a user type, because we want a nice, easy way to see if a user is a manager, any sort of administration sort of stuff. So we're just going to create a quick enum for role. Create an enum. This is going to return a nice simple string. We have a case user and a case admin for now. Just two relatively simple things. So that our user migration, we want to say that we have a role and the default is the role admin value. So let's quickly simplify that. So that on our factory, don't need that, but we will add the model in here. Click through to that. And we need a role and casts. We want to be able to say that this is a role class. We are good to go with that one. So I have already set up Docker. This is running in the background. Here we go. Here it is over here, running on Docker using Laravel Sail. Really simple Laravel Sail. We've got PG-SQL running, Redis, and MailPit now instead of MailHog, which is pretty cool. I haven't used it yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing how well that works. Models, user, yeah, that's all good. So we can just migrate that stuff. Good to go. So we have got our users. Let's add that and say that we are going to modeling user model. Wow, I don't know what the hell happened there. Push those changes up. So the only other model we really need is a request. So we can just quickly make that now. Migration and a factory, and we're going to leave it at that. So when it comes to the request itself, we have some pretty standard requirements, which I can walk us through once I have done all of this. I'm not going to be creating enough models for me to really worry about publishing the stubs. So I'm not going to worry too much. Then at the end, we're going to want table foreign ULID for the user ID that created it. We are going to want to index this. It should be constrained to the users table. And realistically, we want this to be null on delete, so we're going to need to make this nullable. Because if a user deletes their account, we still want to keep hold of a feature request, right? So let's go back to Notion a second. The data modeling for the request. So we got a name, a status, description, vote count, and whether it is paused or not, and belongs to a user who is the owner of that request. So we can say table, string, name, and I'll fill this in more detail in a little while. Status, we're going to want probably just this text column for the description. We'll make that nullable for now. Got an unsigned integer. You go for unsigned big integer just in case, and this will be a vote count. This is going to default to 0. And then we have got a Boolean for whether it is paused. We're going to default that one to false. So a paused request is something that can't be voted upon. So let's say that it moves to in progress based on status. You don't really want to worry about people voting on it at that point. You want to enable the voting because it's already going through that product workflow at that point. So another enum that we're going to want to create is status. Again, an enum. And I believe I had a thought on the default submitted, pending, and accepted. So case submitted. Case pending. And case accepted. Because if something isn't ever going to be worked on, you're not going to just delete it, right? If someone submits a request, you leave it there and keep working with it. So submitted, pending, and accepted. So the default status is going to be submitted. Keyboard status, pending. So the problem that I've got with my keyboard at the moment is I keep accidentally hitting one of the action keys. So instead of typing, I'm just doing lots of special characters instead, which is a little bit of a pain. Default false, that is all good. And there we go. We've got name, status, description, vote count, and paused, and it obviously belongs to a user. So now we need to think about the request factory itself. So put this over this side of the screen, and we can worry about building this out. Clean this up. Final class. This is going to return an array, which means I won't need that. And I want to set the model to be request. So name, we're just going to use Faker again. We're going to write a random sentence. Status, we're going to use a random array using the status cases. Then the description itself is going to be faker paragraph. Count this faker number between, and we want a number between 0 and thousands. And then paused is just going to be a faker Boolean. Finally, the user ID is going to be user factory. And there we go. That is our factory setup. Oh, apparently my face keeps dipping out of the camera. I do apologize. This is why my wife joins in, so she can give me feedback. So this request class itself, again, final, because final classes are what it's all about. Fillable, because everybody knows I'm team fillable, so that is fine. Name, status, description, a vote count, whether it's paused, and the user ID. Finally, cast. We're going to want the status to be a status enum. We're going to want paused to be Boolean. So that is the basics done. We've got a model, which we can now migrate. That is all good. So that's the modeling aspect done. We can go back to here. I'm going to worry about authentication in another stream, I think, because I want to make sure I get stuff done. So I'm going to focus on some logic in the background, things like how to request a feature and upvoting and that sort of stuff. So requests are now done. And what I need to do is just quickly add this, git commit. Request data modeling. Push that up there. It's good to be back on stream. It's felt really weird not streaming, if I'm honest. I'm not going to worry about seeders. I will be doing tests. So let's get that set up and installed. So composer require SHP. What is going on with my console? Dev with all dependencies. Still on version 1. Version 2 is not quite ready, so I'm not going to worry yet. Laravel plugin is all good, and I know I'm going to want to keep hold of that. Sometimes that gets overridden. So a pest install. Awesome. So now I can go and look at my test setup. Delete all of this because I don't need it. Keep this like this for now. Here's pest. Here's my test case. lazily refresh the database. This is going to return an application. It's all good. That's a useless test, and so is that. So the way I want this to work is when a user logs in, they need to create a request. Simple form, very simple form, which gets added to the page. So you can see it, you can upvote it. So we need to create some kind of ways to add these, right? So I'll do my usual commands and queries. If you've seen any of my more recent content on Laravel News, you'll see that I use kind of commands and queries instead of hoarding everything under actions. Yeah, this is my wife actually dyed part of my beard green the other night. It's quite interesting. And my new office. The elephants have got a very nice home, and my books and everything. We're all good. We're comfortable in this office. So before I go too far, I'm going to quickly fix up the app service provider by registering bindings in here. Because this isn't going to be a super large application, I can just use it within here. So commands, so this is going to be requests, and we're going to create a new create request contract. This is going to be an interface. We probably want to install one of my packages for this one. The composer require this Steve King, Laravel, data, object tools. Is it blurry? It should be coming through HD, but I may have to up my subscription so I can get like ultra HD. Hey Nuno, how are you doing, buddy? Haven't seen you since Portugal. I kind of miss it over there. It was great. Laracon in Lisbon was just absolutely incredible. Like awesome, basically. I just can't explain how cool it was. So many cool, friendly people. So what happens when we create a request is that the way I like to do things anyway is I transform the request data coming through my controller into a data object so that it's something I know I can use. But the problem with doing that is if you're doing an update, you want to make sure you're careful with how you design these. So on tiny applications like this, I would just create a data object directory within HTTP. I'd call it requests, but form requests, so I can't. So instead, I will do this, and I will say new request. This is going to implement a data object contract, which has a toArray method, which basically this toArray method is what I use to say this is how I want to convert this data object into something that Eloquent would understand. Yeah, I'm really glad to be back streaming, to be honest. I didn't mean to take so much of a break from it, but I did enjoy the break. As some of you might know, it's hard to keep up with content creation sometimes. Oh, you sent me a screenshot. Where did you send it? I talked to you in so many different places. It's hard to find you, Craig. Where are you hiding from me? Didn't see it. You're lying to me, Craig. You're lying to me. So let's just open up this request a minute. Final, yes, it will be a final read-only class. You know me well. So we got a name, then we're going to have a status, a description, read-only string, keyboard. Paused and so paused and vote counters, something that I wouldn't typically run through an update request or create request. Keep those to their defaults. User ID I pass through separately. So I'd keep it like this. So then we can have the name as this name. Status as this status, and the description as Jesus keyboard. I've been using this keyboard for so long, but I'm still getting there with it, if I'm honest. So final read-only request, bang, done. And then in here, we want to get a new request coming through as the payload, and we're going to get a string for the user itself. So now we can go and create this. Command requests, new, create request. This will implement contract that we just made. And anyone who saw my talk at Laracon or read my recent tutorial on Laravel News will see how I do this. We create use a DB facade using a transaction with a callback. We know we're going to return a model. So we can say request, query, create, and the attributes are going to be, we can spread the payload. Not like that, we can't. Payload to array, and the user ID is going to be the passed-in user. This can actually be a static closure. And that's how that works. Ooh, what's this going to say? It returns mixed. Interesting. Didn't complain until I did that. I'm happy with that. So now we can add this to our app service provider as our first binding. Here are our commands. Create request, done. So what we can do is we can write a nice test for this. So I'd probably call this a unit test personally, because I'm testing logic here. I'm not testing anything more than that. So within here, I'm going to create commands, and we're going to create a new file, create new request test. Obviously, we're using pest, so it can create a new request. We're going to want some data sets because data sets are life. I'm just going to create a standard strings one because I don't want to get too specific. So here's a data set called strings. going to return an array, and we're just going to use the string helper to create random strings. This allows me to just kind of make it look like I'm testing more, if I'm honest. That's all it's really going to do, because those strings aren't different with strings. So if I really wanted to test this, I could kind of, once I understood business rules, maybe I could start to add specific strings into here to make sure that I'm testing use cases. But right now, I'm not too fussed with that. I'm just scaffolding and working through it. Wow, Craig, you're sending me messages on everything here, mate. Wow, I am blurry. Okay, I'm going to have to upgrade my StreamYard account, I think, because that is god awful. Is it bad to watch? Should I just stop? Is it really that bad? Right. So the first thing I'm going to want to do with this is I want to make sure that I am resolving something from the container, because I'm going to inject the contract into any controller that I'm using this command on. So I need to make sure that I'm actually injecting this to make sure that it works as I would expect and exactly as my app would use it. Only problem with doing this is I do have to let my app know that that is what I am creating, so I can get type hints. So at this point, I am expecting the count to equal 0, because I've not done anything. At this point, I've not ran my command. And then eventually that'll be 1. So that's for my tests. So it's failing because 0 and 1, I've not done anything. So at this point, command handle where the payload is a new request. Where the name is, I need to pass that in. String. The status is, I'm going to pass in a random one for now, pending. And the description is the same string. Going to need a user. So let's get user, factory, create, get key. And hopefully that should now pass. There we go. So I know that from a unit level, it works. I can create a request. That's great. What we probably want to do now is have a look at the other functionality that we're going to care about. So things like editing a request maybe, or anything like that. So let's create a couple more commands. So contract commands, requests, and we can say like update request contract. This is how I like to go through building things. I'm building out all of this backend logic, which I know I'm really comfortable with. And other than that, I'm good, right? So my update should return a Boolean. From a data object perspective, I'm going to want to probably use the same thing, that new request. There's the payload. I'm actually going to get the string representation of that request as well. So let's go and create that now. We're going to update request. Going to implement that. Add the stubs. At this point, we can say that our request is request query find or fail based off of the ID passed in. And if that fails, we're going to exit out of running this. So then we can return database transaction, where the callback is a function that will return bool. We will have to cast this, I believe, because it comes back as a int, like a tiny int style. So we could say request update, and we could just say payload to array and leave it at that. Okay, we'll call this ID. There we go. We're just going to change that. That's all good. That's all good. Let's bind this to the container and move on. That is bound to the container. That workflow is okay with me. So, you know, we can write a test for it, another unit test. It's pretty much going to be something very similar to this. So it can update a request. We're going to use helpers again. So our request is going to be request model factory create. Let's just simplify that one quickly. And then we will say that our update request contract, the command, simplify that. And that command is going to be make abstract that. So command handle payload is a new request for now. This isn't perfect at this point. This is just kind of scaffolding it out, getting things working where I might need to use it. And then we can just say get key. So the thing I want to update is going to be the title. So I'll use string. Probably going to have to change this in reality, aren't I? Just to make it nicer to use. No, I'll stick with it. I'll stick with it just to make it easy for now. Status is the request. The status. The description is the request. Description. Keep it simple like that for now. And then we're going to expect the request, refresh. Title to equal string and description to equal plot thickens. Send through description. That should do it. Let's check. Failed. Okay. So update request, title to equal string. Let's make sure the first part is working. It is not. Okay. What could be causing the problem? Let's live debug. We got the update request. And let's see what happens here. So we're getting it. There's a status, ID, there's a name. Oh, wait. That was the issue. Know what you call things because it is easy to forget. There we go. So it was working. I just was trying to access something that didn't exist. So we can create, we can update. And what we want to do when we delete a request is we kind of need two different ways to delete a request. We need to actually delete the request, and then we need to kind of unassign the owner of the request. I might get into that later once I've got the UI in place. For now, let's look at upvoting a request. And to do that, we need a new table for voting. So how should we do this? Should we do it in a specific way? So we could add it as a relationship and as a pivot table, or we could go event sourcing. What do people think? Should we event source this? Should we just go standard pivot table? Let me know what you think in the comments and we'll see which direction we go. I'm thinking event sourcing would be cool, but is it what we want? Is it the right thing for this? Is it over engineering? Possible. Status. Let's just add everything quickly. Push that up. So far, so good. Queries, not going to worry about just yet. Got commands where we're creating requests. I kind of feel like event sourcing would be like the fun option. Should we do the fun option? I'm up for it. I'm definitely up for it. So, composer, require, Farsi, Laravel, event sourcing. Now there's specific instructions for this. Farsi, Laravel, event sorting. There we go. Installation, got to publish stuff. Migrate that data, get config. And that is the main thing that we need to worry about at this point. So we kind of need an aggregate at this point. So let's create an aggregate. So make aggregate request aggregate. Go. You're going to want some events. And we're going to put this inside requests in there as well. So request was upvoted. That's what we care about. This is going to, I think it extends, should be stored. Yeah. So our aggregate itself is here. Declare strict types. Make this a final class. And then what we want to do is a public function register upvote. So we kind of want to, when we're serializing this event onto the store, we're going to want to think about how, what data we want to serialize. Now we could just pass through something like the user ID and the request ID, perhaps. Like, could be super simple way to do it, in which case it'll just be a string user and a string request. Nice and simple. This is going to turn request aggregate. Turn this. At this point, we just want to say this. Record that a specific event happened, and the domain event in question is request was upvoted, and what we pass through to that is, again, the user and the request. Somewhat simple, right? So all we've got to do here is public function construct. This has got to be public. So we're going to have a read-only string for the user, public read-only string for the request itself. This probably can't be a read-only class because of the should be stored stuff, I'm assuming. So we're just going to keep it as is. That now works. That is simple. Editor, this is just PHP Storm. That's all it is, PHP Storm. It's, I think I'm on the early access program. I updated it today, I believe. It's okay. I enjoy it. Classy British guy. Not quite, but thank you. So what we want is when we're registering an upvote, we also want to project that forward, right? So is there a projector? Yeah, what should the projector be named? Let's just ignore that for now. So we're going to make a projector. We're going to call it requests. Oh, actually, no, we could just call it the request projector. really, can't we? So projectors are here, request projector, and we want to say on request was upvoted. There's our event. This doesn't return anything. At this point, this is where we want to kind of handle something. Now, I don't think this has a constructor. So we should be able to do dependency injection here, but I'm not sure whether it could break anything. So I'm not too keen on using DI for that, really. So instead, I'll just resolve it in place for now. So yeah, our command would be app make abstract something. We haven't made this yet. So in our commands or contracts requests, we can just do like a upvote request contract. Public function handle. So any write operation I typically call a command. I'm actually looking at writing a post about my local setup, as it's been asked a few times now, actually. So we're going to want to pass through the user. We're going to want to pass through the request. And we're going to basically just return bool again, really. That's kind of all we need here. Request projector is that. That is what we're going to want to use. So let's go look at the implementation. So again, we're going to get that request here. Probably want to call that ID in reality, don't we? Again. So request, query, find or fail at that point, so that the ID is the ID. Then we can just return a database transaction. Callback, static function. Date, the vote count. Vote count. Can I do it that way? Am I going to have to do it that way? That's going to complain. That's going to complain. What's going to be the nicest way to do this? What do you think? Yes, Steve is back. I'm always here. Hey, Luke, good to see you, buddy. I just realized I've not been playing any music or anything in the background. Just been, slowly chatting away to myself. Let's get some music going in the background. Let me know if that's a little bit too loud for you. be fun. There we go. So basically we want to get the count here. So I'm going to pull this out. So we're just going to say count is that at that point is going to be mixed. So we are going to wrap it in an int val. Or we could just cast to an int, really, can't we? At this point. The count should now be an integer. There we go. Not perfect, but it'll do. I mean, I hate it when it does that. Good evening. Yeah, so I'm using StreamYard again, and they've got music that you can add to your streams, which hopefully means that I won't get any copyright stuff on the channel, which will be pretty handy, I think. Right, app service provider. So again, upvote requests. Here's our command. So now we can say command handle user is event user. ID is event request. Pretty straightforward, right? It's not doing anything overly complicated. All we need to do is make sure that in our app service provider, also in the boot method, because this is such a small app, I'm just using the app service provider to do everything that I need. So we need to use the projectionist facade to add a projector. And that's it. That's all that needs to do. You're just registering that projector so that the event sourcing stuff happens. Ooh, font size. How's this? $26. We'll stick with 26. So our aggregate will record that event. Our projector will catch that event and say, okay, so when I've caught the event, this is what we're going to do. But what's bugging me here on the projector let's just refactor this. We're going to rename this to upvote projector. Then we're going to refactor and move a class into requests. So that is now in there. That's still in the right place now, which is good. So what I think we could probably do in the constructor is have a private read-only command, where this is just handled, which kind of tidies it up really nicely, right? On request was upvoted, do that. I'm pretty sure there's like a handled events. There's like a stored events or something like that you can register on projectors. Let's have a look at the docs quickly. Handles events, this. I don't know if you need to do this. I'm going to, because more consistent. There we go. And more actions, so upvoted, get rid of that annoyingness. So our projector is just going to handle that now, right? It should just increase the upvote. The aggregate does what it needs to do. Request was upvoted, there's the event. Everything is registered. That looks good. And what we're going to quickly do is connect to a local database so we can see what's going on. New data source. Local. Obviously, I've got to download the drivers, as always the case. Let's test that connection. Good. Apply. Okay. Look at these tables. Not showing the tables, is it? Let's remove it. Add it again. Something funny happened there. Where am I looking? I've lost it. Have I gone blind? Where's Postgres gone? There. Random. So, feature, request, local, that's in green, 27.0.0.1. Make sure we set that correctly. Sale, password, test, apply and connect. Feature request, public. Tables, stored events. Excellent, we're getting there. Right. No, it should be migrated. Nothing to migrate. Let's reset that view. That is looking good. Got the database all good to go. So what we want to do at this point is when someone upvotes, they're going to hit like an endpoint, they're going to do something. So we kind of want to, at this point, fake it a little bit, right? This would probably be a feature test. So I'm going to create a controller for this, even though I'm not setting up the front end yet. So make controller. This is going to be for the web requests up. Vote controller. This is going to be invocable. I do want to create a pest test for it. So let's quickly fix this up. Don't need that. This will be a final class. This is likely to return redirect, but I'll worry about that later. Make a request. Requests. We don't really need that. We just need to make sure that we're passing through the right one, right? So we're going to pass through a string for the request. Because of the sort of application it is, we need, if this was an API, it would be dispatching jobs. Because it's not, I'm not going to for this. Yeah, I'm loving the new JetBrains UI. It is fantastic. String request, it's not a want. String ID. No return type, I know. So when we upvote, a user is clicking on something, that's going to send a request to here. So we need to basically almost have a command different to this, like performing it, just to keep that clean if we want to. I mean, the long way around is to go request aggregate retrieve, where the UUID is random, register upvote, the user is X, oh, why am I taking screens? Hotkeys, go away hotkeys. And the request is ID. Then we would persist it. So, how are we going to get this? The first thing we want to do is let's load in the constructor. So, private read only. Authenticatable user. We want the user, but a logged in user basically. So at this point we can say this user get auth identifier. That will be a string. That comes back. Mixed given, so what we can do for the sake of static analysis is string valid. Now PHP Storm will complain because that is a slower way of doing it, but it will also complain if we typecast it. So you win some, you lose some, really. Okay, so because we're not doing any real querying, we can change this to an actual request. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to import it as a request model. I'm going to just say model get key. Again, this is going to complain, so I'm going to have to wrap that as well. The things you do for static analysis, right? So you're going to persist that, then you're going to return like a redirect back. For now, we'll call that OK. We'll call that a redirect response. That's going to go do that. Things are going to happen in the background. All will be well and good. So we can need to test this. So feature upvote controller, delete all that. we do need to like add that route in reality. So let's quickly add that route, even though it's not going to be used like this later on. So string val is because this is expecting a string, and that returns mixed, and that returns mixed. So I'm having to string val it because you can't cast mixed to an int or a string, basically. Static analysis complains. Right, we're going to say middleware auth group. Quickly add a group in here. Groups. Go post to the request upvote name. This is all going to change later on, but just for sake of being able to test it, I'm going to keep it as is. Upvote controller. We'll keep that full path for now because I'm not keeping it forever. So then in my test itself, what do we need to test? We kind of need to make sure that we're storing the event, right? It stores the event when upvoting. So our request is going to be request factory create. Eventually we'll add more business logic around this. So we want to do a post request. The URI we want to send this to is action upvote controller. That's good. That's good. And we want to get a assert redirect coming back. So cool. Excellent. And the parameter we want to send a car across, and it's going to pass that and see what it does. Cool. So now we're getting an error. Failed asserting false is true. Route to login not defined. Of course it is. Of course it is. For now, I'm just going to do no content until like spoiler? What spoiler? I don't do spoilers. Just going to quick no content for now. Make it easier. Right, login still not defined. Okay, so we're still getting issues with that one. So we're just gonna have to fix that. We have to fix it, even though I couldn't be bothered. We're gonna do it. So to get this where I'm going to want it, is we're gonna have to install Laravel Breeze. We've got pests. We're going to want inertia, and we're going to want dark mode. So before I run that, let me show you the options. So dark, inertia, pest, SSR, composer binary. So what I'm trying to do here is I need inertia in view, basically. So to do that, I'm just going to tag on -- inertia -- dark and let that do its thing. I am not going to be on the stream for too much longer tonight. I wanted to kind of ease myself back into it a little bit more. I'll quickly test out the upvote, making sure that we can kind of hit the aggregate, and we'll pick it up again next time, I think. Aha, so we're getting somewhere. Upvote controller not defined, apparently. Which is a bit of a strange error. Web. Oh wait, did he get rid of it? It did. So I'm just going to quickly grab this. This bit and add it somewhere. Right down here. For now. There we go. All of those auth tests. I kind of want to skip, but I can't right now. But it's passing. So we're getting a redirect at that point. So what we kind of want to do is, if we look at the docs when it comes to testing aggregates, what it tells you to do is, hello, yeah, I'm kind of happy to be back in the streams. It's fun. So what I want to do, okay, let's break this down. So in effect, we want to assert that or expect that a event was stored in really simple terms. So eloquent stored event. Query count to equal, I spelled that wrong, I know. Zero. But then when we post, we're expecting 1 to be stored. Okay. So class aggregate. I do like typing. I type all the things. So stored events, that should be being stored. Is there a particular reason why it wouldn't be. I can't see a reason why this wouldn't be stored at this point. Doing the post request, do that. Getting that. Getting the redirect, which means this is working. Okay. Let's test something else for now. Let's go request, refresh, vote, count to equal 1. Let's test that. If that's not working, I've set something up wrong. Yeah. Hey, failed that. Okay. Help if I set a default, right? Okay. So, for some reason, that ain't happening. Why could that not be happening? Why is it not storing based off of the aggregate? I've had issues with this package before where things don't test as I expect them to. Register upvote persists. Record that, yeah. Recording events. These are aggregate partials, I think. Some of these, yeah. Should be stored. Add money. Retrieve method persist. Testing aggregates, record that. Okay, we might just have to test the aggregate itself for now. It redirects after storing. Now in theory this shouldn't be working. It's not. I know exactly what the problem is. Oh, silly Steve. Why did I not think of that? Okay, so the problem is that I am getting a redirect, but it's where I'm being redirected to that is the issue. Because I'm not logged in. So I'm getting redirected to login, hence my original error. How did I not think of that? Okay, cool. Received a 404. It stores an event when upvoting. So that means we can set request there. It's not sending through the URL correctly, I don't think. So before it gets to there, we're going to have a quick debug. request upvote. That should be hitting it. I'll tell you what I'll do is requests. Let's just resolve it that way to make sure it's not being overridden in terms of loading in routes. Okay. This should get method isn't supported. That's great. HTTP requests map upvote. That should not be 404ing at this point. Not sure why that is 404ing. So, hasn't got any funny middleware other than auth. Just do that. Group R. Let's even move it out of that action here, and let's just say boot. Grab it. It's called upvote. Still getting 404, which is really strange. I've done something that I'm just not seeing here, right? What does the aggregator thingy do? So the aggregate is it is basically a event sourcing term to channel your events through one point. If you want to go into kind of depths on like what an aggregate is, then I definitely recommend checking out this page. Where is it? So, here we go. Let me drop this link in the chat for you. That is probably what I'd recommend reading if you're unsure. It's useful. Oh, wait. Something funny going on there. And so I can't see what could potentially be going wrong here. So something funny is going on. It's like it's not seeing. It's struggling with that. But if I a root list it's just called upvote. Maybe I've just had a really long day. That's what I'm going to chalk it down to. So for now, I'm just going to draw a line under it. approach it with a fresh mind another time. Getting started with upvoting. As I said in the beginning, this is an open source project, so no, there shouldn't be any middleware. I'm using Inertia. I'm no funny middleware other than auth, but I am acting as a user. It doesn't have verified, not enforcing verified. It's just saying a big old nope, basically. And I'm not 100% sure why. But this code is open source, so have a look. Does it reach for controller? No, it looks like it's 404ing on that controller as well. Like, I just die and dump here. Oh, no, it's getting there. Why is it getting there now? Oh, that's so frustrating. Oh, could it be that redirect back that's causing the issue? Ah, keyboard. Typed nicely for me. Okay, it's getting a 404 here after the... That's just confusing me now. Because that shouldn't be redirecting or doing anything from a routing perspective, so something's going on. It could find or fail, yeah. There's a model that doesn't exist. Well, if it hits that, we register the upvote, recording that, it could be in the command this. So it could just be a case of actually passing through the request at that point. That may potentially fix it. Get rid of that. Don't need to worry about any of that. So where we are calling that is from the projector. Request wasn't voted. There's the event, but the aggregate, when we're sending it to the aggregate, we could just send through the model itself. That solves that. That solves that. That solves that issue. That solves that issue. Solves that issue. Aggregate. Oh, one failed. And then parameter ID. All of that. All of that. Projector. Slowly. There we go. Now we got there. Oh, that was very painful. Okay, so let's undo all of this. So it's back to the action. Make sure it still passes. Yep, cool. We are failing us. Right, I'm going to draw a line under it because it is 25 to 9 for me here in the UK. I've yet to have dinner with my wife, and I've been streaming for an hour and a half. So I wanted to say thank you very much for tuning in again. If you check out the description below, you'll see the link to the repo. I'm going to schedule another stream for next week, perhaps. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you enjoyed it, if there's anything you'd like us to do on the channel. And yeah, let's get some more Laravel News streams going. Reach out to me if you want to join us. It'd be great to have some guests. Other than that, I'd like to say thank you very much and good night.